I'm still kind of waking up, and it's already 11. We have a long day ahead. And I'm like, I don't 100% remember what all I was going to be doing in my next Kingmaker game, which is my IRL game. So I'm like, I need to do some prep. So, since I was telling people about threat maps earlier, I figured I should threat map my Pathfinder Kingmaker game longer term and with an eye for, like, where we're going to be in the near future. So, Cassie, don't pay attention. Yeah. So I should. So I'm going to do that. And this is not like an unplayable map tool. This is an IRL game. It's around the table. I will not have this open. I'm going to take notes out of this and put them into my phone and run the game. Viewer context. We have... I could probably just rip these... Wow. Oh gosh, you can see whatever is here. Quick. I'm gonna have to actually close down Discord here. Get out of here, Discord. Hit quit so I don't accidentally open you. But those are characters, and I figure I should throw them into my game here so that I have my PCs. So this is Silvaria. They're not going to be playing, but sure. Turn off the grid. I don't need no grid here. Silvaria. These are not made by my players. These are made by me and Hikaru during a night of insomnia. But I should throw them in here. Because then we'll have the reference. And it gives you something nice to look at while I'm talking. And I can take notes in each PC about what's going on. With that particular character. My players are some of the most extremely creative people ever. Most of them are using the same names that they just go on out to buy online for this. So, you know, they're so creative. But no, they are. They're very creative. They're just not good with names. Except PR's player, who, as noted by PR, being not what they go by online. But yeah. So context for the players. We are playing Kingmaker using Starforged. Basically, Ironforged is a great system for running you said Starforged. Why are you saying Ironforged? Ironforged was a great game for running sort of fantasy role-playing. But it had some clunkiness, it had some inefficiencies, and it was rebranded and kind of second edition as Starforged, which is the same game with a sci-fi reskin. And rules cleaned up a little. So if I can take the sci-fi reskin with the cleaned up rules, I can undo the reskin, and now we're in fantasy again. And that's what we've done. So I'm not going to share everyone's character sheets, because I don't have them. They are physical objects in the world that belong to their players. But just for a high level, so you know what we have going on, Silvaria here is basically a magic knight. She is an exile with an asterisk from the Aldori Sword Lords. Basically, go forth, tame the stolen lands and will forgive you for your horrible crime of fighting with a big-ass two-handed weapon instead of an Aldori dueling sword. You have Ereleia, who is a friend to Silvaria / romantic thing. Their players are married IRL, and it is making that into everyone's problem in-game. #positivity. We love it. It's great. Ereleia is, as you can see, a bird girl. She has that little cat is not actually a little cat in the game. It is a big fucking bear that can roar. Mechanically speaking, in the Starforge rule set, it's a banshee. The banshiness has not come into play very often, but, loud roar can make people, shit their pants. And she rides it, shoots at people, does a lot of nature-y stuff. PR is shoot, but it's actually like an inventor, like interested in magic, interested in artificery, interested in making the things work. Has this little magical device that she hasn't quite figured out what to do with, and is poking at it. And is notably the only non-lesbian on the team as a raging disaster bisexual. We love that for her. But she is also proud owner of, like, the only gun in the Stolen Lands. Or she was until the little lizard. She befriended a kobold in the first session and made a second gun for the kobold, and now has a little kobold companion that also has a gun that PR is teaching her how to shoot. And then you have Cass, who is played by my girlfriend, who is a demolitionist. In-game, these two are divorced. Like, everyone's here because of Silvaria. Silvaria collected the party and did not know prior to getting these two involved that they are divorced. And they have the most divorced couple energy at the table, and they lean into it, and it's very fun. The recent advances in the story, like, one of the things that's been very fun about this compared to Pathfinder is because we don't really need to worry about stats and levels and such, the story unfolds in a far more straightforward manner. So instead of roaming around and having lots of random encounters and gaining levels and eventually stumbling into the Thorn River encampment and so on and so forth, party immediately went, we're going to track down those bandits that attacked Oleg's. Which, I moved Oleg's because there was discussion for a while about whether or not the party was going to have their common item be a raft, which they decided on having the common party item be an egg, a dragon egg, which has no mechanical purpose yet. It's just there narratively. It's getting carried around by... I should double check where the egg is. I think I forgot to make note of where the egg is, but let's make note. Common party material. Egg. This is a party resource that they have access to. It is also a threat. It is an egg. It might hatch. It might break. It might be stolen. It hasn't really become central so far because no one has really noticed the egg yet. It's kind of just been sitting there in the party's saddlebag. But it is there. And eventually, I am aware of egg. An egg is a thing I can touch. I can mess with. So, I moved Oleg's trading posts, which, based on where they are now, that means I'm going to use... See, I'm using red for their things. I'm going to use blue for threats to throw a loop for things. So we have Oleg's. So right now, Oleg's is to the north of them. I should, because this is a location that can move, I should use the... Oh. That doesn't seem to work. Okay. I thought that was an eraser. It didn't work, though. That's fine. We'll just erase it this way. I should probably also info the egg. I made an info token for things. So let's go ahead and do that, too. Just erase everything. This darned blank token that I got. Did not sound great. Okay. So the party has... I'm going to make these smaller, because we're going to need plenty of them. Egg. So we have our egg. And then... up in the north here, we have Oleg's. If you know the map of Kingmaker, I moved this to be on the river because we're discussing possibly having the party have a raft, and I figure if they have a raft, they're going to want to have river access to Oleg's. So it's on the river that runs from Rostov down, which I think is just a more sensible place to have Oleg's trade post anyway. It always was odd to me that there's this road that runs into the middle of nowhere that isn't used for anything from a trade perspective. Because it's pretty obvious trade from the river kingdoms to Brevoy runs along the river. And this is one of the river kingdoms. So just relocating the trade post by the river, I think, makes a lot more sense. So it's by the river, and the PCs are currently outside the Stag Lord's place. So they're not going to be a big deal with Oleg's. Also, currently north of them, because of their position, and it's kind of northeast for both of these, they have Kobold Settlement, which they have made an agreement with some kobolds to mess with other kobolds. So let's put that further closer. And then over here we have the Moon Radish kobolds, who have taken over Svetlana's Moon Radish cat patch. And they're the ones that the party has met that led to our little kobold gal, who I don't remember the name of off the top of my head. I have it written down. I should look at it. Look it up later. Joining the party. So we have the kobold gunwoman, who has joined the party over there. And then we also have, kind of as an internal threat, Rio's party. So the idea I had, this is an internal threat that is also kind of part of their resources for reasons. The idea I'd had early on is my parties, they weren't willing to accept like the charter idea. They're like, our characters would do that. I'm like, okay, I'll make a rival who has, because the people up in Rostov, the Sword Lords, would have that. And in a moment we're going to get to that, because that's the bigger, broader stuff. But right now, these are things the party's aware of. I'm going to make a separate marker here for things that the party is not aware of. There we go. Framed red traps. Make all of these small and not snap to grid, so that they're readily able to be copied. So, things the party knows about. things the party does not know about, and the party. Slightly bigger than the things because they're still small in the overwhelming scale of everything. So we have our people floating around. Our resources are growing. They have the egg, which I think is in Silvaria's possession. We have the kobold, which is in PR's. And we have Rio's party, which is present. And Rio's party has multiple people. So we have Rio, party leader, fights. We have Rio, Sir Tova, youngest son of Regent of Brevoy, fights with Trident and Lightning magics. We have Akio, Torture Crow. We have Val, Righteous Paladin. We have Gold, who is a half-giant fighter, favoring sword and shield. Excuse me, he's favoring big club. I haven't really interacted with Gold much, but mostly it's been Rio and Akio. And then we have Samara, who is fire, genie, half, with element, with positive energy powers. This is actually the party I originally ran Maker with back when I ran it in Pathfinder. These were the characters. It ran pretty far. There were some transphobia conflicts that broke the game down, and some miscommunication about what was in character and what was out. But I've brought them back with the permission of everyone who I'm still in contact with. And they are there. So let's continue making some notes on Rio's group. Rio has sworn fealty to Silvaria after losing bet in Thorn River raid. A little story there. PR infiltrated the river raid, planted some bombs, and blew everyone up, including herself. Almost died in the process. Their little bet had been, whoever's team gets more kills. And so PR just snuck in there beforehand and lit everyone on fire. And by the time Rio's team had got there, the party had just killed everyone except for the person that they took hostage. Nettle, I want to think. It is with a name of NPCs. There, Kressel. I was way off. This guy. So, goals. There are some goals. Rio, obtain glory and ease as a Sir Tova. Samara, rule a kingdom in name at least. Akio, build a war machine that strikes terror in all. And then Val, justice. Val is the odd one out in this party. But yeah, so we have goals in there. I just want to make note of these. I know these. I don't need to look these up. So this is the easy part. But it's important to remember, because even though Rio sworn fealty, the party is still a threat. The egg, we don't have anything anymore. What is the egg? Who wants it? What happens when it hatches? That's actually... How does it hatch? What happens when it hatches? So those are the questions that we have for our egg. We haven't defined anything. There's no goal there, but it's just sitting there hovering with questions ready to cause the party problems. And our kobold gunwoman, whose name I will look up later, she has a couple goals. Goal 1, reclaim the kobold mines from our usurper, Tark. That's what her main goal is. Goal 2, OMG gun part. She likes her gun. And you know what? I've been toying with this question for a while. We've joked about it a bit at the table. I'm going to formulate it as another goal for her that could become conflict later. I'm going to phrase it this way as Mary PR, because PR's not the sort of character I feel like is going to settle down with anyone. Especially knowing her player. So I foresee this as being something where heartache can very easily come out later. My girlfriend is laughing at me, getting spoilers. It's fine. I trust my girlfriend to not pay attention or care until the moment comes, and also to just roll with it when it does. Because we're not in this for the secret and the surprise. We're in it to tell a story together. But this is a long-term goal. Our little kobold gun woman has a little crush on our kind of part orc oni gal. So yes. So there we go. We got those. The players have goals. They can change over time. They're not what I'm worried about right now, because I don't need to care about their goals. They need to care about their goals. They need to live and pursue their goals. One other thing that is kind of near and here. This is where Nettle comes in. Nettle is dead. And Nettle has one goal. Nettle wants the Stag Lord's head. That's what Nettle's got. Nettle wants the Stag Lord's head as power of curses. Which, I don't think the players have realized yet, but Nettle has already cursed them. So, they're already in Nettle's sway. It doesn't seem to be, I don't think it'll negatively affect the PCs at any point, because they're, kind of doing what Nettle wants. And then Nettle will go away. So I don't know if they will ever actually figure out that they have been cursed by Nettle. But that is there. If they decide they don't want to fuck with the Stag Lord, then that'll be a thing. So, Moonradish Kobolds. Conflict occupying Svetlana's Moonradish fields. Goal: either usurp Tarek or make a new tribe here. And they're starting to lead in the latter. But the party has gotten them on board the usurp Tarek plan. So I don't think that we have a conflict here yet, but we may. And the Kobold Settlement I'll get back to, because they've heard of it, they don't know anything about it, and I want to make sure I have note of everything that they know. And then Oleg's trading post, you've got Oleg, whose goal, Oleg, who is tradesman. His goal is make a living free from the boot of organized government, which makes him a friend now, possible foe later. Svetlana, loving wife, wants her moon radish field back. So that's there. That's who they are, that's what they want. There are traders. If they get pissed off too soon, that's going to fuck the party over quite a bit. And then we have the one more thing. This is something else the party's aware of. It is a nearby outside threat, because they're there. The Stag Lord. And the Stag Lord views self as rightful ruler of the stolen lands by might. Hey, Malekith. You might have a U5 later. I'm organizing notes for my IRL game, because for one reason or another, it's going to have been like almost 2 months since the last session, and I want to just make sure I have my head on right. So I'm just pulling in notes about what's going on there and putting it into a threat map. Because, and I was telling some kid on Tumblr this earlier because I was getting asked for GM advice. This threat map from Apocalypse World is the greatest invention in DM prep, in my less than humble opinion. It lets you throw all of the potential threats that the party faces into a map that's centered on them and encourages you to think about what they want, what they're able to do, and what they're willing to do to get what they want, so that you don't have to railroad the PCs. So we're going to be focusing in on the Stag Lord here. I'm going to be making separate tokens for everyone involved, because they're what matters. So the party is aware of 3 of these people here that really matter, and I want to get all of them here because there's going to be some internal politicking here. I'm going to treat all of the people here as separate threats. And as I said earlier, I'm going to use this for the things the party doesn't know about at this time. In the future, I'll have to change those out. Party doesn't see this. This is entirely my notes. This is an IRL game. Happens either around my kitchen table or at one of the tables over at our local friendly game shop, which I'll dox myself. It's a cool shop. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in at No Land Beyond. They have great drinks, they have great food, and they have a great game library. There's a table fee, there is a table fee, but if you pay the table fee, you can, browse the game library, play games with your friends at the seat. It's a per player table fee. I don't even remember what it is, because if you subscribe at a certain tier for their Patreon, then you get a little thing every month that you can show the bartender and you don't have to pay the table fee. And I've been at that tier for ages, so I don't even remember what the table fee is, but it's a reasonable table fee. And then if you also want to buy games, you can buy games. Yay! I haven't been in a while because of my hernia and work, but it's a cool place. Tuesday nights they have a cube club that is organized by the lovely people at the Lucky Paper podcast. If you've ever heard of 100 Ornithopters Cube, that's the home of 100 Ornithopters. It's a really fun cube. Not my favorite cube we've got. I think my favorite cube that we've got is probably compost. I don't know. I don't remember if Julian made compost or if he just made a copy of compost. But hey, that's a professional Magic the Gathering player. Great way to get better at that game is to just play with people who play it professionally. Easy peasy. Just get lucky and go to your local neighborhood game shop on a Tuesday night and learn about the Cube Club when you get abducted by people who you're like, wait a second. I have a friend who listens to their podcast. I've heard these names before. They're cool people. But, yeah, so sometimes we're there, sometimes we're at my living room table. So, oh my gosh, if you sneak in there, you might see me to your misfortune. I'm gonna make all of these even smaller, just because they are. I'm gonna make them smaller. Freely, because no, that's not what I wanted to do. Size. Reset. All of you. Size. Free size. I'm trying to remember the preserve. Nope, that's not what I want. That's also not what I want. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Make them all smaller. I want these, because they're kind of sub, to be smaller just for my notes purposes. We're not double-clicking yet. There we go. And then put these on token there. Their relative size doesn't mean much, although I will make the big one the Stag Lord, I think. It is such a good, cool module. I will once again say, I think the Owlcat game did it a major disservice. It is a really good module series, and it's really, really good in non-Pathfinder games, right? Like, so many of these Pathfinder adventure paths don't really work outside of Pathfinder without a lot of conversion. But because Kingmaker is such a sandboxy game, the villains in Kingmaker, if you can even call them that, are motivated and acting on, like, certain, like, they have motivations, and the motivations are such that you, even if it doesn't unfold exactly as presented in the module, you can still have a game, right? Like, in this case, my party went, yeah, we're going to take down the Stag Lord, we're going to go out there right away. But even if they didn't, even if they decided, no, we're just going to explore, the Stag Lord's going to fuck with them. The Stag Lord has motivations. So let's list them out. So we have the Stag Lord himself. So, powers. So, resources. I'm going to call them resources. Because, you know, he's got lots of bandits. His fort. Big muscles. Magic. Mask. Makes shoot arrow good. Because I'm playing Starforged, I never have to roll dice, so it doesn't matter what bonuses the bow has unless the player's mask has, unless the players get it, which I should probably do some thinking in advance about. Give it some bonuses, give it some drawbacks, and such, but it matters, it makes him shoot the arrow good. So that's a big deal. Goal. At this point, his goal is stay drunk and Like, he's very composed, which is his great weakness at this point. He will send his bandits out to tax, he will harass people, but really, at this point, he just wants to be drunk and in power. So, that's where he is. Next person that the party already knows about. Last we left off with the party was this guy, Akiros. Party made contact with him. PR, his players, specified the intention of, and I quote, seduce the man, fuck him, and use him to get close to the Stag Lord. All of my players and their party and my party are lesbians, except the one disaster bisexual played by a disaster bisexual. It's great. I love it. Yeah. And yeah, so we closed off last session with that plan being announced. The party doing phase 1 where they steal Rio's honey, because I made the rival party and they already dealt with the rival party by forcing them to swear fealty and stealing their honey. And the rival party is based off of the party that I ran through Kingmaker. Back the first time I ran Kingmaker, like in 2017, I want to say, back in 20... And like, I didn't run it when it first came out. I ran it a few years later. It was 2016, 2017, around there. And one of the players had a cart full of honey because he didn't know what to spend the rest of his lots of money on, and his character was a hedonist. So we just got a lot of honey. Player thought was, and I will make sure to add nice honey to every meal. Everyone else's thought, Rio bathes in the honey or does some weird sex shit with the honey. Okay. That's a lot of honey. And just like in that game, Rio was not long for his honey. Because in this game, they just stole it and they marched it right into the Stag Lord's fort. Under the guise of bringing a donation to the Stag Lord. Like, they managed to have the password and everything. They're pretending that they're, like, bandits and they've captured this honey and they're going to deliver it. And, okay, so next time we're starting in the fort. That's why I need to make sure I have all these people sorted. So, what does Aikios want? It actually says what he wants, if I can find him. He has a plan here. Yeah, so he wants the power himself. So his main thing is... So, we're gonna get his resources in a moment, but his goals. You know, he's unsatisfied, wants the Stag Lord dead, wants himself in power. So this is a guy that the party can absolutely manipulate. And I think they're going to. So, what are his resources directly? So, he's just... He's just another bowman swordman, right? Yeah, he's just another bowman swordman. So he's just good with sword, good with bow, challenging combatants, has call over other bandits until he betrays Stag Lord. Those his goals, weakness. Other bandits kinda hate him. He doesn't really have any power. And that's his Michael's Wizard. So the reason that the party picked him, that PR's player picked him, is he's PR's player's kind of guy. Which, okay, fair, respect. This is funny to me that she picked the guy that this plan could possibly work on. I look forward to the botched roll because I want to say PR's player spent her momentum last session and doesn't have any anymore. So she doesn't have the safety. The way Ironforge, Starforge works is as you win, you gain momentum. And at any point, you can replace your action die roll with your momentum. And die rolls, you roll your action die, and you roll 2 challenge die. And every success, every one of the challenge die that your action die roll beats is a success. Every one it ties or fails to beat is a failure. And so you can get, both succeed, yay, good success, mixed success, failure, and then if your challenge dice match, then it's a critical success or failure, depending on whether or not the actions beat. And so as you build up momentum, you just have this resource that you can spend. Or you can let it tick over and hit the 11th resource and increase your minimum momentum while it disappears and just become better over time. But I'm pretty sure PR's player spent her momentum, which means that it's entirely possible for her to just screw this up and have everything go to shit. I will need to give a little thought into what happens there. So the next one that they know about is Dovin from Nizrak. Ever since I came out as trans, every time I've run this game up until now, I've always treated Dovin as kind of a hard-boiled egg, if you catch the sense. Like someone who is very obviously trans feminine, who would be much happier transitioning, but has so boiled herself in toxic masculinity that there's basically no hope of her ever cracking. Because look at her. If you've ever met any hard-boiled eggs, you're like, oof, yeah, that's a hard-boiled egg right there. Party actually vetoed that, pulled an X card on that when I started presenting. We want this is a little bit too dark for us. We think that we would rather have any trans people be, openly trans and accepted, with the exception of Silvaria's conflict with the Sword Lords and the slight, transphobic reference that they have there. So, for once, Dovin is just an edgelord. And see, friggin' Dovin, Kragger, Topper, and Backhanded Jeb are quietly playing a complex hard game, trying to avoid annoying the Stag Lord. They're frickin' playing Magic the Gathering! And I'm not supposed to trans her. So sad. I just love this details. Backhanded Jeb's twisting endless arguments about rules. Nori's just tearing up a roast chicken in a corner. This is great. So the thing about Dovin Dovin is wanted for murder. Party doesn't know this yet. Party hasn't gone back to Oleg's, and they've been beelining straight here and doing their conflict in the wilderness. So I haven't had time for Keston Garrus to show up and present that he's wanted for murder. So Party's gonna have a happy surprise, especially if they capture him alive. So he's wanted for murder by Keston Garrus, who the party hasn't met yet. And then he's got resources. He's got his 4 dudes there. Double knives. And then goals. His goal, he wants to stay free from... He wants to stay free and fuck dudes. Like, that's all that Dovin wants. Let's be real. Dovin just wants to stay free and fuck his dudes. So Dovin's gonna fight for that. Loyal to Staglord because he hates Icos for usurping his position. Was Dovin fucking the Staglord? I don't know. I will make that decision later. So that's 3 of the 5 people of relevance. And there, 5th person of relevance, Ox. Let's see. Ox, strong. Ox want be treated nice. That's all Ox want. Ox is simple. So Ox is someone, you know, kind of group these people up. Put this here. Icos is kind of a player resource. Ox is kind of a player resource. Players haven't figured it out yet, but they have that potential. Staglord, definitely not a player resource. Dovin, probably not. And then kind of in between them, this guy, who the players may not encounter before they deal with the Staglord, in which case, well, they're in trouble. He's the main hint that something bigger is going on. Oh, and there's one more person I need to put in here. I always like to introduce Nyrissa as an NPC way before the party learns of her. And I'm going to do that here. I just twist it up a little bit every time. Sometimes Nyrissa's just the spirit of the forest and she's there. And the party just encounters her at some point as a random encounter and she's just like, oh, well, welcome to my woods. But the most successful time I've ever dealt with Nyrissa was a side quest. My party was kind of skipping everything and was running straight through. This was a game in Pathfinder. And so to level them up, I did this side quest where they were dealing with some elementals in a cave. And I went, okay, I'll have the back end of this cave, the sort of reward in this cave, you know, story beat, where they rescue Nyrissa, who has been sealed in here and is, you know, trapped. She was sealed in here by someone to do some magic ages ago, and now she's free. And then later, when the party is dealing with the consequences of freeing Nyrissa, and oh, this is the big bad, they can have that moment of, we brought this down upon ourselves in the beginning. And it worked so well. Except, it's hard to bring that into the story. And we know, and so one of the ideas I have, and this is an idea from playing that kind of gosh-awful Owlcat RPG adaptation, which I am unfair to. It is, you know, technically good. It's not terrible from a plot perspective. I'm sure it's fine. I really like the way they did Wrath of the Righteous. But, you know, as Kingmaker, it's bad. Kingmaker is I don't think it's possible to make a good Kingmaker video game. And the way they handled Nyrissa in that I did not really like, except they have the whole thing with the Stag Lord's dad and the fog and such, and I thought that most of that is stupid, but the idea of part of the Stag Lord's power coming from his dad binding Nyrissa is good to me. So I'm going to have her bound by Stag Lord, Edward's father, empowering Stag Lord. Goal: fill the final gem and release herself from the Lantern King's punishment. Final what gem? Rain of Sand. Which is to say, help a kingdom rise and destroy it. So that's going to be her goal. I will need to flesh this out at some point, but she's here, and she's sort of a reward. She will be the big bad. Spoiler for the entirety of Kingmaker. As if her being on the cover isn't spoiler enough. Come on. See, there she is. That is really bad art of her, I have to say. I do not like the way that they do the art on this one. They have it on page 590. Do they have the better art of her later? I didn't think I really paid attention. Mag Castruccio. Oh, so many people. Freaking, I hate this Grigori art. I like this Drelev art. I've always liked the Drelev art. Yeah, they have the better art. It's so much better. Such better art. I like it's still inhuman. It's still... like, it's so obvious that she's only wearing that leaf bikini because they had to publish it and not get a rating hit. It's like, yeah, no, this is a fairy queen who has no sense of modesty and lust and all that. She's thorny, like nature. She's beautiful, like nature. She's tied up in a basement by an old man, like nature. Wait, what? I know exactly which player is going to get a little irritated with me for that one, but I'm going to be like, please. But I think they're going to be happy that they've rescued her. It's going to be great. You know, every now and then you have to do something that you haven't been explicitly told not to, you know is going to cause some conflict in the short term, because it's going to be great. Again, not the best Nooria art. He looks way too healthy here. I don't think I will show them this image. But the last person we have to decide here is Nooria. And I think Nooria could become an ally if discovered early enough. So, resources. Loads of druidic magic. Controls the channel for Nyrissa's power to the stag. Goals: survive. Kill his stupid son. Gain more power. Hurt people. He is a sadist negative, so I don't think he's going to be someone that is likely to be around for a long time. Kind of like Aikyo. Aikyo is also a sadist negative. Difference is Aikyo is hot, bird girl, and Nooria isn't. So I think if the party should somehow make their way into the cellar and make contact with Nooria, there's a chance they might be able to work with him and get him to, to turn off the flow of power. But if they don't, I think there's basically no chance that they don't have to deal with him. And if he gets away, I think as long as he's in the cellar, he can bind Nyrissa. I don't think my players will let him. So I think that Nyrissa is going to be freed and liberated. But in the short term, like they might just not go into the cellar and he might be able to escape. And if he does, I think Nyrissa is going to absolutely be able to break free of whatever temporary bonds he puts her in, is going to flay his flesh from his bones and just plop them down. And then later there can be an encounter of, hi, you see a person whose flesh has been flayed. It's like skin, and then muscle, and then bones, all spread out. Ew. What's happened here? I think that's less good than if they actually, stumble upon Nyrissa. So I think if they start defeating the Stag Lord might barrel into the cellar to, demand a more direct power-up from his father, which could be a fun little anime moment. And, you can then have, Nyrissa scream in pain in the back as she's bound by her own thorns, strung from ceiling to floor in the dark cellar, power channeling into this big, disgusting man. This is so... the damsel in distress is not always a bad thing. Just make sure that she has a reason for existing. Nyrissa has goals and ambitions. It's, it is objectively a bad thing for the players if they free her. But gosh darn it, are they going to? And they're going to be so mad at me. They're going to be so mad at me for putting them in that. And then when it comes due, they're going to be so mad at me. But it's going to be it's going to be great. I love giving my players the opportunity to hang themselves. And if I can make the entire campaign their fault... It's such a good thing. I don't know why my players don't trust me. Oh, they're fine. They're fun. Yeah, so that's this situation. Now, I think that's all I need for the next session. I do not believe that they will go past the Stag Lord. I think I do want to make note of the Kobold settlement. So it's got... Let's just make note of everything here, because they know about the Kobold settlement. Let's make note of everything we've got in the Kobold settlement. So they've got Tartuk, disguised gnome, trying to mold the kobolds into an army to claim the stolen lands. That's what he wants. Then we get Sootscale himself. Sootscale, frightened, wants no one to know he's doubtful of and scared of. Tartuk wants power for his kobolds, and Tartuk dead. Anyone else here that we need to worry about? Mid-flip, probably. Captured Midflit. Wants to be free. Complication. Active war ground between kobolds and midflits. Resources. A few hundred kobolds. Access to iron. Tartuk's magic. Long-term might summon Old Sharptooth if left alone. Demon. Okay. So now I've got the Kobold settlement marked out. That's the big thing that we have here. So I have everything I think I need to know to run the game on Sunday. Hooray! Had this set up. This just stopped working. Sure. Fucking YubTub. This doesn't work sometimes. It's been going downhill for years. Ever since Google bought it. Let me hit the save here. I will probably copy this into my notebook Sunday morning. Nope. Yeah, Sunday morning before game, because Age of Worms, which will be streamed, doesn't start until December 14th. Probably. Might be delayed 1 week. There is a potentiality that I will have to do something on the 14th. But, hooray! I am game prepped. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break for lunch. Stream will end. And then about 1 o'clock or so, depending on Hernia, I'm going to be back and we're going to play the Knights. So, thanks for everyone who has come for the last hour of this prep. This has been useful for me. I hope it was entertaining for you. I hope you're understanding that I'm doing this sort of thing behind the scenes for Age of Worms too. So, Age of Worms, you should come watch when that starts up. It'll be Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, starting on Sunday, the 14th of December, or possibly 1 week later if the thing I'm afraid might happens. For now, see y'all in about an hour. Rah.